Guys, James here, hello. So this is a quick video to sort of respond to some of the rumours and images and so-called news sloshing around social media as of recent, and it refers to Adam Copeland, formerly known as Edge in WWE, could be the mystery final opponent for John Cena. Now, as we all know, John Cena's career is winding down. His contracted dates are being whittled away slowly but surely, and Cena's final match has been confirmed for the final WWE Saturday Night's Main Event episode of the year on December the 13th in Washington, D.C. That will air exclusively on Peacock after NBC apparently dropped broadcasting Saturday Night's Main Event because of low ratings. So if Goldberg thought that he got a raw deal when NBC cut off his retirement speech with 30 seconds in, then I'm quite sure John Cena is going to feel pretty much shafted at this point to have such a comparatively small platform to have his retirement match on. But hey, here's the thing: get those VPNs out, everybody. So instead of, because you probably cancelled Peacock if you're purely having that as a WWE fan. And you might not want ESPN, so why not just, get a VPN for, $2 or $3 a month and watch it for free on YouTube, because it's on YouTube for everybody outside the United States. I need a VPN sponsorship, like Stephanie McMahon. I'll look into it. Anyway, speculation as to who is going to be John Cena's final opponent has been running rampant. By running rampant, I mean it's being talked about a bit. I mean, let's not over-egg that particular pudding here, but apparently the Brock Lesnar absolute domination over John Cena at WrestlePalooza was not actually done to set up a redemption arc for John Cena to then take on Brock one more time and then, retire with his head held high kind of thing. It was just, I guess, just to put over Brock massively and then he goes to the championship or whatever he's doing. So it's also not going to be AJ Styles, because Styles is going to be wrestling John Cena in Perth, Australia, at WWE Crown Jewel, which I always find weird when that's not a Saudi Arabia show. So, John Cena has 5 appearances left. Not matches, but appearances. So, apparently, there isn't even going to be any, reruns of matches. So, if he's wrestled you in 2025, he's not going to wrestle you again. So, I guess he's just wrestling everybody once, and then that's pretty much it. So, it's sort of leading a bunch of names to be pushed forth. Who is John Cena going to have as his final opponent? Dominic Mysterio, Drew McIntyre, Jacob Fatu, Bron Breakker, Gunther. So many names have been advanced. Not The Miz, though, interestingly, because apparently nobody wanted to see that for the first time, let alone a rematch of that. Anyway, I think that John Cena, unlike Goldberg, kind of has to take the win here. It needs to be that feel-good moment, whereas Goldberg was really, older and broken down and everything, and I think that's appropriate for him to lose. So in that case, I think it's Dominic Mysterio or maybe even Drew McIntyre. They're the two people who I can see wrestling John Cena, losing, and it not affecting or even maybe boosting their career in the future. But there has been another name floated around recently, and that is, of course, what I mentioned at the beginning. Adam Copeland, formerly known as Edge. So if you cast your mind back some 20 years or so, John Cena was the newly anointed WWE champion and the face of the company. And you may also remember that fans didn't really take particularly kindly to it, actually, at the time whatsoever. The tide of popular opinion was turning against John Cena. People just didn't think he was ready for it. He was being pushed too quickly. He was starting to get booed everywhere. And his matches at that time weren't that great either. And he'd mostly also, I think this is forgotten about, mostly dropped his rapper character that he'd done in 2002, 3 and 4. And he was starting to present himself more seriously. And it wasn't really working at the time. Q Edge. He basically suggested that he win the WWE title at the beginning of 2006, and unlike Bob Holly, who for some reason made the same request, give me the belt, Vince McMahon actually granted Edge's request, and Copeland became WWE champion, I think, at the beginning of 2006, New Year's Revolution, I think I'm right, or whatever it was called at the time. So basically, Edge and John Cena started feuding all the way through 2006, managed to legitimise them both as bona fide main eventers because the feud and the matches were so good. So who better to see off the 17-time WWE World Heavyweight Champion than one of his greatest, if not his greatest ever opponent, Edge? But I hear you say, Adam Copeland has a contract with Tony Khan and AEW. True, he does. But there have been images floating around claiming that Copeland had signed a 2-year contract on October the 1st, 2023 with AEW, meaning his contract will be done in a few days. So could it be that Edge will jump back to WWE for one last hurrah? No, it absolutely won't, because those images are lying to you and they're 100% untrue. So Adam Copeland didn't sign a 2-year deal with AEW, he signed a 3-year deal with AEW, which is going to take him through to the end of 2026. And he may have even signed a contract extension earlier this year. I didn't clarify that at the time, but I've heard that rumoured, taking him all the way to 2028. Now, there is a spanner in the works thrown in when AEW this past Wednesday had a backstage vignette, whatever it is, skit, I guess, almost whatever you say, where Edge goes up to Christian backstage and says, look, I can't carry on doing this anymore. All this effort and issues with FTR and everybody else going on in AEW, it's putting my family through the ringer, and I just don't know if I can go on anymore, if I can put my family through the ringer anymore, and I'm just going, and I don't know if I'm going to be back. And then Adam and Christian Cage bump fists or shake hands, whatever, and then Copeland leaves. Now, Adam Copeland will be away from AEW in a bit, but it's not because his contract is expiring soon. It's because he's taking some time away to film the 3rd series of Percy Jackson and the Olympians on Disney+. He portrays Ares, the god of war in that series, and that's going to be out at some point in late 2026 or 2027 even. But let's say, so we've got the contract thing, and the reason he's away is because he's filming, but okay, let's just say that Copeland did sign a 2-year contract extension. That would mean he would be available to wrestle for WWE, right? No, he wouldn't be. Here's why. Back in May of 2024, Copeland jumped off the top of a steel cage and landed really awkwardly on his leg while trying to splash Malachi Black, who was prostrate, prone on a table. But he sort of didn't want to hurt Malachi at the same time, so he sort of landed feet first. And in the process, he managed to break, or fracture at least, his tibia. And he was on the shelf for 7 months before returning at World's End that same December. Anyway, this means that even if he did sign a 2-year contract, he would have injury time tacked onto his contract. So therefore, he wouldn't have been available until the middle of 2026 anyway. And if you're wondering, well, would have Tony Khan, would he have done that? Well, he's done that to Ray Phoenix, Danhausen, loads of other people with their contracts. I see no reason why Tony Khan would not tack on injury time to Adam Copeland's contract as well. But once again, it's a moot point because he didn't sign a 2-year deal. He signed a 3-year deal. So that makes Adam Copeland, MJF, both of them are now absent from AEW because they are both filming TV shows and a film. I can't remember what MJF's doing, but he's away as well. He basically gave some sort of weird concession speech and said he was disappearing for a while until he got his mojo back, I guess. And then there's also Will Ospreay and Kenny Omega and Wardlow and Swerve Strickland and loads of other people who are also on the injury list as well. So it really isn't a good time to be an AEW booker right now. But to answer my own question, will John Cena be wrestling Edge at Saturday night's main event, as Edge will be, as his finals opponent? In the words of Gorilla Monsoon, highly unlikely. In my words, absolutely no chance whatsoever. So Adam Copeland is likely going to be under AEW contracts until at least the beginning of 2027, with that injury time tacked on. And then that's assuming he hasn't signed a contract extension, which would send him into 2029 with AEW. So I'm pretty sure that Adam Copeland, well, he isn't going to be Edge for a very, very long time. So once again, normally I'd say, well, who knows, whatever. Here's the other thing, is that there is apparently a wrestling war happening at the moment. Now, normally I'd say, well, it isn't a war because WWE are so ahead of AEW, but WWE sure are counter-programming AEW so much that apparently it's a war in their minds as well. So there is absolutely no way Tony Khan will loan Adam Copeland Edge to WWE at this point. I am absolutely 100% sure. I'd love to be proven wrong, but I'm pretty darn sure I'm not going to be. So that's... just get that one out of your heads, everybody, and enjoy John Cena versus The Miz at Saturday night's main event. So if you could comment, subscribe, all that kind of thing. I may have a video out on the weekend as well. We'll see.